selling your coaching, it's not about you. It's about the people who you help. The most effective salespeople are the people who are amazing listeners and who have compassion for the people who they help. I'm your host, Tiffany Gilliland, an Australian business and mindset coach with 10 years experience in online marketing and the creator of the Business Bravery framework. I help coaches to be brave so you can sign more clients even if you hate marketing and sales feel icky. From signing your next paying clients through to launching that dream group coaching program, the Business Bravery framework helps you take bigger leaps without the mindset spirals. It's helped my clients double their investment in me, make thousands of dollars, and truly build their dream business. In this episode, I am super excited to dive in to content and turning content into clients. And specifically, I'm going to get into how to write a promotional post that actually converts. So I'm going to be taking all of my knowledge. I've been in online marketing since 2011. I started in content creation and copywriting, and then I've done so many courses on this. I did a marketing degree back in the day. I have a master's in media and communications. This is kind of my thing, right? I'm going to get into the art and science of creating these posts. And we're also going to have a little bit of a bravery and mindset flair in here as well, right? Because we're diving into the business bravery framework, right? I am also, spoiler alert, the whole one sentence stories approach is going to be a factor in what I'm going to be talking to you about today. And this is going to be so good. So I'm going to be sharing with you like the structure of a post and like how to do a promotional post, like one that actually sells your coaching or your workshop or your, you know, course if you have that. You can even use it to get people to sign up to your opt-ins. It doesn't have to be about money. So, yeah, the structure, the science, the biopsychology, the marketing, right? And as well as the where the one sentence stories fit into all of this. And I'll be using some examples from some of my own work. So, fun times ahead. All right, so I do want to say that I talk in this podcast, I use the word coaches and I use it in my content. I know that there are some people here who might not be coaches, but who still find this stuff valuable, and you will still find lots of value in this. This can work for course creators as well as for service-based business owners. I have been all three of these things. I continue to be all of three of these things. So it works for me, it will work for you. It can even work for people selling products because a transformation still takes place when somebody buys. It's just more in their mind about who they become, right? That always happens. But in coaching, it's a little bit different because people need to believe in themselves. They need to believe in themselves. Like for coaching and online courses, people need to take action, like more action on their own after the purchase takes place in order to get the benefit of learning the knowledge, applying the knowledge, seeing the transformation in their life, that kind of thing, right? So, yeah, fun times. Okay. Now, before I get into the fun stuff that we have ahead, and I've realized I forgot to set my timer to try and keep me on track. I've just set it now. How many minutes have I been talking for? Hopefully not too many. Okay. So I want to say before we get into this, I want to do a quick visualization, and I just want to reiterate, like I know you're creating a promotional post because like you want somebody to buy something from you, and it can be so easy to fall into this little trap. And please know when I say this that I have been there too. We've all been there at some point in that whole, hey, it would make my life really easy if you would just buy this from me. Do you know what I mean? It can be too easy to fall into that. I want you to perhaps just close your eyes for a moment, unless you're like driving when you listen or something. But I just want you to take a few deep breaths. And I'd love for you to do this before you write content anytime. And that is to just forget about you, right? This is not about you, right? This is about you showing up and helping people in their lives. I want you to focus on one person, your ideal client, right? Just keep the deep breaths and the visualization, right? I want you to just think about them in a particular struggle as part of their day, and they come along and they see your piece of content, like perhaps you help, like you're a health coach and you help women to have more energy so that they can live their lives, and that's why they work out and do all of that kind of stuff, right? So, and I know as I say that, that's very vague, but that's what happens when I create examples on the fly. So, but imagine that you are this person that, like, perhaps you're a coach, you know what you help them with. Imagine they're in that point of the day where it's like that 3 p.m. slump. They're having thoughts, they're having fears, they're, frustrated about something, and then they're like, I'm getting on social media, that's going to solve all my problems, right? It doesn't have to be true, but that's what they're thinking at that moment. And they're going to see your post and they're going to go, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I needed today. I needed to know this information. And oh my gosh, I can't wait to work with you. Okay. So, this whole process of selling your coaching, it's not about you. It's about the people who you help. And the most effective salespeople are the people who are amazing listeners and who have compassion for the people who they help, right? And I know that's going to sound a bit crazy because there's so many bro marketers out there who are like, hey, buy my stuff and everything like that, and that kind of thing. But in my world, I like to believe that what we do is a service and that helping people with problems is a service. And yes, they need to invest in us, right? So, this is why I like to get into this zone. Another part of this zone is also realizing how amazing your solution is for their problem, right? So, like, this you need to get into the mindset of, like, this is how a coach described it for me. It's like, I'm selling a Mercedes for $100. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, hey, or maybe if cars aren't your thing, perhaps, I'm selling like a Birkin bag, which is like tens of thousands of dollars for $100. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's like that value exchange, right? You're in that zone, okay? And if you're a health coach who helps people with their health, if you are a business coach who helps people with, their business and earning money from some perspective, right? Then you are helping to make people's lives better, okay? Right? Same with your courses, with your services, you are helping to give people an amazing transformation. And you need to get into that zone and feel your energy lift of, oh my God, this is amazing. And maybe think about past clients who have given you their like feedback and had said this is amazing. As I say this, I had a client of mine who actually said this to me on a call the other day. We've been working together for years, and she said, oh my gosh, you are amazing. I really appreciate you. I need you to know that. Like, you help me so much. So, just thinking about that, getting into this zone before you create content, right? It sounds crazy, but if you're in this zone of self-doubt, worry, fear, oh, am I choosing the right word or anything like that, none of that is going to help you to create amazing content, right? As someone who's been creating content online since 2011, and in fact, before that of a personal nature, right? But in terms of business from 2011, any times I have been completely, and like definitely more so at the beginning, right? Of the, oh, am I choosing the right words? What are they going to think about this? What if I do that? Blah, blah, blah. And I put that out there. Nobody cares. It doesn't get any traction. The times where I show up in that energy of like, this is amazing. You need to know this. This is going to help you, and really show up in that kind of energy, right? You can even hear it in my voice as I'm talking about this and raising my energy. My shoulders are back. I'm sitting up straight. I'm feeling in the zone, and it is amazing, right? You can do a meditation to do this, but this kind of quick visualization you can do some deep breathing, just get into that place of, this is amazing. You need to know this. And I know that I will choose the right words, right? I trust myself that my message and the energy will come across, even if I don't have the perfect words in the perfect order, right? For this particular post, those will come in time. Coaches, are you showing up online, posting, creating reels, sharing your coaching offers, but still not signing enough clients? You are not alone. For so many new and newly established coaches, creating content is one thing, but creating content that actually connects and converts, that's the missing piece. That's why I created the One Sentence Stories Workshop, a live interactive Zoom session where you'll learn how to use simple but powerful storytelling to create content with clients in mind. We'll upgrade your IG bio, create promo content together, and give your reels and stories a messaging boost so you leave with content ready to post and a repeatable system to turn content into clients. It's happening April 30th or May 1st in Australia, and it's only $49. But podcast listeners get it for just $24 with the code STORIES25. This is the beta round, and I might not offer it at this price again. Grab your spot now at bit.ly/stories April 30. That's all lowercase, no spaces, no underscores, and you can find the link in the show notes. And there is a 100% 30-day money back guarantee. Okay, so you get the idea, right? Get into that zone. It always helps. And I love telling my clients that. If nothing else, it really builds up your day. And whenever I approach anything to do with sales and helping people getting into that zone, even recording these podcasts, right? It has an impact and it just helps make your own day better. Okay, now let's get into planning the topic of your post. Okay, so I'm not going to go into this in huge detail because I want to break down the post, but what I want to say is you want to look at and you can do that visualization and really, or you could do some journaling prompts, right? What I'm going to be teaching in the one sentence workshop coming up is sort of doing a visualization or doing the journaling prompt of like, hey, what is the morning like in your ideal client before they work with you? And that could just be a few sentences of what they're thinking, doing, feeling, right? What are they struggling with? What are they frustrated by? What are their secret fears that they don't want to tell anybody, right? And this is not coming from a creepy place. This is coming from a, hey, I just want to help people, right? Kind of place. And even as I said that, that was a little bit too hardcore, but like, I want to help people. And so understanding where people are struggling is like, hey, that's where I can come in and help people. Right. You can also look at what's their life like at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. That can be a common place for people to have, slumps in both, like if you're a health coach, even as a business coach, right? The whole life, health, business, it's all intertwined and poor decisions could be being made at that 3 p.m. slump time, right? So then you can also think about what's going on in the evening before they go to bed, right? The last couple of hours of the evening and that kind of thing, right? So you can also then look at that same time if you find a cool struggle that they're struggling with in any of those times. Bonus points if you want to go to the 4 a.m. wake up in the middle of the night, right? If you find anything amazing in those struggles, then think about, okay, after they work with me, assuming that they do everything I tell them to do, and that if any problems come up, we'll work through it and, we will get them results. What does their life look like after in that same situation, right? Now we have a before and an after and a transformation, right? And this is where we bring out those one sentence stories, right? This is the fun stuff, okay? Now, I'm going to get into this whole outline of a post. Before we begin, right? I just want to say this is a framework. These are not rules, not hard and fast rules to live and die by, right? This is not a case of, hey, Tiffany is the expert and she said do it this way and I have to do it this way every single time, even though there's something in me that feels called to write it a slightly different way, or maybe even skip a step or something like that. Okay. The reason that I say that is because I've been in online marketing since 2011. I've seen people follow all the rules and not make any money. And I've seen people break all the rules and make tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. So anything I teach as a framework. And anything that I teach to my clients and here on the podcast, I always say Like, take what works for you. Anything that just doesn't feel right, just ignore it, just leave it. Okay? Because you need to be in the energy of trusting yourself to make these decisions and to put these things in place, right? If you're in the energy of, I fully believe in this and I fully believe in the way that I'm writing this, and I believe that my person is going to really understand what I'm talking about, right? Then so much can be created. Even if you don't have the perfect words to describe it in the perfect way, I've seen so much happen with just that amazing energy and approach. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that words aren't important, because they definitely are. What I'm saying though is that sometimes passion and enthusiasm can make up when you perhaps don't have the perfect words, and then sometimes you need to go through the imperfect words to get to the better sounding words. Okay. That is how writing and creation and all of that stuff works. Okay. So I just want to say, like, you don't have to follow this word for word. And in fact, I think in some of my examples that I have today, you might see examples where I just like, like I know the structure of how it should be, but it's just not feeling right for the way I've approached this. And it's like the words sort of come from outside of me and get channeled through when I write, when I'm in the zone, especially when you raise your energy like that beforehand. Okay, so the post. So we have a headline, then we have a follow-up to the headline, a little bit more information, want to keep them reading, and I'll go through this in detail with examples. We want to connect with their struggles. We want to show compassion, right? Very, very important, especially for the coaches in the room. We want to talk about a solution to that problem. Then we want to talk about why that's valuable. We want to show proof from past client stories. So very, very important. And then we're going to have a call to action. So that's the overall it in 30 seconds. Now let's let's dive in to your post headline. Okay. So your headline, and if you are, I do a lot of these sales posts in carousels now, and I like the headline, like this refers to your very first post in the carousel, the picture, and then it also refers to the headline in the caption, the first line. Okay. So you want to make sure that you call out your people, right? So you'll notice that majority of those types of posts, actually even my podcast ones, they start with coaches, colon, and then here's something, right? Look at this. Don't forget that. Don't make this mistake, right? Short and sharp to get people to keep reading more in the caption. In the carousel post itself, in the image, I have things like coaches, are you posting every day but not seeing any new clients signing up? Okay. Right. And in fact, if I wasn't writing that so quickly or something, it's like, are you feeling frustrated that you're not seeing new clients signing up? Okay. Could be another way to work this in. So something else to just remember. And I went into some of this stuff with the one sentence story stuff in my last solo podcast, which was episode 73. So you can get into a bit more of that side of things. However, I just wanted to say that I've lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Oh, yes, people buy based on emotion. That's why that whole are you posting every day but not seeing any new clients signing up? I could have put in there, but frustrated by not seeing any new clients signing up, which might have helped connect on more of that emotional level. But then because people buy based on emotion and then they justify it with logic. And it's kind of this balance of emotion and logic. And if you kind of think about how you purchase things, you might to like, when you go shopping, especially outside in a real store or something, go like clothes shopping or something, and then you might think about Like really think about your thought processes as you go through that, right? So yeah, that can just be a very eye-opening thing to kind of think about and to see that whole how the emotions tie in with the logic. And there are some personality types who'll be like, oh, I never do it based on emotion, there's always logic. So yeah, there's usually some sort of underlying emotion. They just might not be that connected with their emotions, and they may not be the most fun of clients to work with, right? I've definitely found that in the past. So, yeah, hang on. That's not, oops. Sorry, I've got my content up so that I can use it as examples. Sorry, in the opening image of the carousel, the are you posting coaches, are you posting every day but not seeing any new clients signing up? Here's how the one sentence stories method helps. Swipe for more. So it's kind of like a, hey, here's a problem I'm solving. Here's like, let me talk about the one sentence stories method. So people can either get interested in the one sentence stories. Oh, what's that? I haven't heard of that before. Or, they can actually connect with the, oh yeah, I've been posting every day, but not seeing any new clients signing up. Okay. So sort of just gives you an idea into that opener. The opener is really, really important. Okay, this is how you get them to stop the scroll. And you get them to stop the scroll by understanding the struggles they're going through and really understanding those stories about how they feel in that moment, maybe even some of the things they're saying to themselves, some of the things that aren't even true, and things that, if only you could talk to them and help work them through and that kind of thing, right? So, yeah. So, as a guide for your headlines in the captions, like short and sharp, keep it short. Oftentimes, things get cut off, especially in your reels and things like that. So, keep that in mind. So, the follow up to the headline is like a little more information to keep them reading. So, an example of this from that same post that I started was then let me share, and this is in the carousel part, the images. Let me share some before and after examples after nearly 15 years in online marketing and helping coaches sign clients since 2017. Okay. So it's like, hey, if you keep reading, here's what you're going to get, right? And sorry, try not to get too techy, right? The fun part of this is like we call that a story gap. And you might notice it in videos, especially on YouTube, right? Like, hey, so if you keep watching, here's what I'm going to tell you about, right? So here's the reason to keep reading, okay? So this is a particular post, like talking about these before and after examples about your posts, right? And it makes more sense when we get into the before. So for other versions of this, it might be, hey, let me tell you why reducing your blood pressure is something you can't delay. You could go into the why, although as I talk about that, that's probably not the best since sorry. Okay, so it's probably not the best because you don't want to be in the whole energy of convincing. So, but oh, it could be let me tell you a fast and easy way to reduce your blood pressure that nobody talks about, right? Like all of a sudden, oh, that's something compelling. Tell me more. Okay. Right. So that's something on the health thing, on the business side of things, or something is like, let me share about this common misconception that everybody is doing with their content, that kind of thing, right? Now, as I talk about this, I'm realizing this particular example doesn't necessarily have everything in it in my framework, right? So, yay. Okay. So, all right. So that's your follow up to the headline. We've done the headline short and sharp. Follow up to the headline. Again, you want to keep it short. All of these examples I'm reading are kind of maximum of 300 words. So you want to keep it short, like a sentence or two, okay, to try and keep people interested and keep reading, okay? So, and if you're struggling with this, I'm going to be helping you to create content in the one sentence stories workshop. that's coming up. We're going to be going through this. So you can go, hey, here's what I've come up with. And I can, in real time, give you feedback and go, oh, yep, that's great. That works. That makes sense to me, that kind of thing, right? So that you have a real way of applying this, right? That's happening on April 30th, live over Zoom, and happening at 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 5 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Pacific, and that works out to be May 1st at 8 a.m. here in Australian Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so all right, so we do have the headline, the follow-up from the headline, and then next we want to really connect with their struggles. Okay, so the symptoms, the thoughts, their feelings, the doing, the not doing, and this is where the one sentence stories can really shine. Now, here's what I've done in this particular post where I've done the before and afters. I've gone straight into okay, let's look at the before, which was come and join my breathwork sessions. They'll help you relax, right? So, talking about posts. As I'm reading it out to you now, I'm realizing this could have used maybe a little bit of extra context in terms of, hey, posts before, but we will see how this goes. This content I'm reading you, it'll be out by the time you hear it, but it's actually not going to be out until tomorrow, my time. So, yeah, fun. Now I'm like, oh, do I go in and make some changes? But anyway, right, this is where I just want to sort of reiterate the imperfection of creating content. Okay, sometimes you're in the zone and you write things and you do things and it's awesome. And then back in the old days, I used to plan on day one, like do an outline, come back on day two and write it, and then look at it on day three, and then I'd pick up those parts that are missing, right? These days, I don't take all of that extra time, and I'm not saying like, like 10 minutes day one, you know, 30 minutes or an hour day two to write a batch of posts, right? And then day three, like 10 minutes to look over it before sending it to my assistant, right? So, not saying it has to be huge, but that lag in time can help you come at it with a different thought process and see any of the gaps. The other thing you can do is before you finish, actually read it out loud. That will help you find the gaps, right? As I'm doing now. Podcast, I'm reading it out loud and going, oh, I wonder if this landed. We will see, right? So right, anyway, so I've done the before, and then my next slide in the carousel is the problem. Okay, so here's the problem with what's going on in the before, right? Problem, this is a general offer that could apply to anyone. It's a nice to have. Let's make it a must have. And then we move into the after, right? So breathwork sessions for mothers of three-nagers, so you can shake off the next tantrum without batting an eyelid, oops, right? So then in the next, so we've got before in one slide, the next one is the problem, the next one is the after, here's what it could like, the content, right? And then the next one we go into the difference, okay? So you know that a mother of a 3-year-old probably dealt with a tantrum the very morning she reads this, right? She lights up, she thinks this person knows me, they can help me. She knows there will be another tantrum tomorrow and she doesn't always handle it well. Then on to the next slide. Now it's a must have, an easy yes for the right person. This is the power of the one sentence stories method on the next slide to really show your ideal coaching clients that you see them, hear them, understand them, and it builds trust so fast, right? So, and then we move into the I'm teaching this method, right? So let me come back to the structure. So now what I've done in that post is I have connected with their struggles, right? The next part, we've gotten specific. I've done the one sentence stories because I'm showing here's the content I see and here's how it can be different. And it's very specific to an example that could help a very specific person, right? So yours doesn't have to be the before and after. Don't fall into that trap. Many of mine posts aren't there, but they are connecting with the struggles. It's like, oh, it's 3 p.m. and you're like a different post could be it's 3 p.m. and your toddler is having a meltdown and you you haven't handled it well, like maybe you've snapped at them or you've just put them in a playpen and walked off for a minute so you could calm down, but you don't want to deal with it that way in the future. Like, do you see how there's these one sentence stories connecting with what somebody is going through, right? In the blood pressure example or something like that, right? My husband's dealing with this a bit at the moment. It's like, yeah, you've just eaten dinner and all of a sudden you're hot, you have weird headaches, and it's really impacting, your wife says, "Hey, do you want to go for a walk?" But you just feel horrible and you say no. And that's not how you want to live your life going forward, right? Again, one sentence stories, very specific to really get to nail in on a certain type of person. Now, I'm not saying that you have to only serve this person for all of your posts going forward for the rest of time, right? You might work with a variety of people with a variety of symptoms, struggles, and so one post could focus on one or two of them, another post can focus on different people, different symptoms, right? As long as it all funnels back into your paid programs. Okay. Coaches, are you creating content but still not signing enough clients? Then you've got to check out my one sentence stories workshop. In this live interactive session over Zoom, we'll craft scroll stopping stories that actually connect and convert. You'll walk away with upgraded content, bios, reels, promo posts, and the confidence to turn followers into paying clients. It's happening April 30th, and podcast listeners get in for just $24 with code STORIES25. Grab your spot at bit.ly/stories April 30. That's all lowercase, no spaces, no underscores, or you can find the link in the show notes. And yes, there is a 30-day money back guarantee. So we've connected with struggles. Now we want to show compassion. And I'm not sure if I did this in this post that I wrote, right? Sometimes this one can feel a little hard because it can feel a little contrived sometimes, right? But it really is you are not alone in this. You're missing a piece of the puzzle, which is kind of actually what I did. Here's the piece of the puzzle you're missing, right? The nice to have to must have. Here's the mistake that you're making, right? The this showing compassion, and you'll see in some of my posts that I say, "Oh, you're not alone in this," right? Because genuinely every mistake I have written about to help people, I have made myself. There isn't a single one that I haven't made myself, despite all of the marketing background that I have and coaching and all of that stuff. I've made them all myself, right? It's probably why I'm so excited to share them with the world. It's like, hey, don't make the mistakes I made, right? And even my style on this podcast and the way that I coach, it's never I am the perfect example of a I want to say modern major general, but I'm the perfect example of a coach and don't ever, I don't make these mistakes anymore, ever. I still fall into some of them at times, right? The ego is just, it's a thing. So, but the reason the showing compassion or explaining that, hey, like it's okay, you're just missing a piece of the puzzle, it's so important because so much of what people teach in marketing is like, oh, talk about the struggles. And if you're not careful, it can actually make people feel miserable about themselves and then they will never buy from you, right? People who feel bad about themselves won't buy. If you make them feel guilt, they won't buy. If you make them feel less than, they won't buy, right? They need to actually feel empowered and like they can make change, especially when it comes to coaching, right? If you're selling toasters online, again, you don't want to make people feel bad, right? But by the same token, the compassion side possibly not as important, right? But it's that whole you're missing a piece of the puzzle. Here's the thing you don't know, which I really like about this, right? So, and it also helps to build your authority and helps them to come along and go, oh, wow, actually, you helped me get a transformation just through this post. I can really see what it's like to work with you. Let's do this, right? So, the solution, and it's like is the next part, and right, it's like, okay, what they need instead. And this is where we come up to with mine of like, hey, I'm teaching this method in my upcoming one sentence stories workshop. In this interactive workshop over Zoom, you'll learn how to connect with your ideal clients in a deeper way through the power of storytelling, right? So you can break through the noise, right? Remember that phrase, so you can, anytime that you talk about what you do and how amazing it is, you need to turn it into a so you can and turn it into something that they want, right? So it shows the value, okay? So this is where we're mixing in talking about the solution and then the next part of why that's valuable, why the solution is valuable. And the easiest way to do it is just remember anytime you write something, like think to yourself, so what? Think to yourself, so you can, right? To answer the so what. So you can do X, feel Y, stop worrying about Z, and finally, okay? I've kind of mixed the two together, and this is what I'm talking about, this being a framework, and you get to make it yours and like sort of like just feel into the groove of it, right? Just imagine yourself kind of writing and kind of dancing a little bit, right? I'm just I'm moving myself as I talk about this. This stuff is so much fun, right? The art and science of this is basically the art and science of connecting with people, right? Through the written word, okay? But forget writing, even if you don't like writing, you can talk into your phone, right? Talking out loud can be really great, especially if you're a verbal processor like me. So, anyway, the talk about your solution, right? And then talk about why it's valuable. You need to stay specific with the one sentence stories throughout it, right? So connect with your ideal clients in a deeper way so you can break through the noise, craft it into engaging one sentence stories that have your clients light up. We'll rework your content live in the session, right? So you'll walk away with a new IG bio, promo posts, reels, and stories, right? Then I've got get into the call to action over on Instagram, it's type workshop below to get the to get on the no obligation waitlist, right? Oh, hang on a minute, actually. This must be an older post. I thought this was going out next week. It's not. It's gone out already. Okay. I do my content in batches a week ahead. So hopefully that makes sense. So yeah, and then it's got there will be limited spots for this powerful training that you can apply to all your future coaching content. I make sure in the actual carousel itself that we have the type workshop below to get on the no obligation waitlist. That's one way of doing it. In fact, that's your call to action part, right? And that call to action, I always try and make it specific where I can. Like sometimes it'll be short like that, especially when you're kind of running out of words in a space. Another reason to take this as a framework and a guide rather than a rule book to try and follow. Sometimes you'll need to do short content and even shorter than this. So, yeah. But that call to action, it's like it should never be, sign up to my workshop today, right? It's like sign up to my workshop so you can finally get this result that you're looking for, right? That's how a call to action should be. And we can see that even this example that I've used would have done with a little bit of that, right? And maybe I followed that up in the actual caption, right? So in the caption, I've also got coaches. Storytelling is the key. That's the opener. And I have a down pointer finger emoji, right? I've been helping clients craft better stories in their content since 2011. It's helped clients, like, this is your proof, okay? And it would have been better if I'd have had enough room to put this in the slides, but I have a number of these going out, so I can put it, and it's in other slides. And so, yeah. So it's helped clients like Tracy and Jess, who launched their first group coaching program online, signed their first 4 clients, and doubled their investment in me. Or M Star, right, who wants to remain anonymous, who signed her first 2 paying coaching clients within 60 days and had a pipeline of 5 more negotiating start dates, right? I've worked with over 100 clients in multiple industries. Like, this is my proof, okay? And anytime you're doing any of these like case studies showing the before, the after, the transformation, right? And the like, and any bonus results like doubling their investment or bonus health results, right? All of that needs to go into what you're doing, right? Anytime you talk about the connect with their struggles and their frustrations, then you know, show the compassion, move into your solution, show why that's valuable, and then it's like, hey, this has helped other people. Let me show my proof. Okay. If you don't have any paying clients yet, but you've had free clients, you can use that. If you haven't had either of those, but you've helped yourself or you've seen people who it's helped, right? So when I started out in services marketing, I would, like I would be analyzing everybody and it's like, oh, what did they put in place? And oh, I can see, you can see when they do a launch, you can look in their groups afterwards and see how many people they got, especially if you ended up buying yourself, right? And seeing how many people they got. So then you can extrapolate that that actually worked and got the money and that kind of thing. So then you're like, hey, I saw this used in this way, right? Okay. And be clear, of course, don't claim them as if they're a client, but it's that showing the social proof of like, hey, I've seen how this works, right? And if you don't have examples like that, and you don't have your own examples, but you want to help people with a certain problem, then go and find someone to coach for free or for a low cost and come talk to me. Right? I will help you for free to get you that first person who you can help so that you can have that first testimonial, right? Okay. So then the rest of my post is I've worked with over 100 clients, like showing my authority and who I am to be teaching this stuff. If you're struggling to sign coaching clients as a new or newly established coach, then the one sentence stories method will transform your content into the client attracting engine of your business. Type workshop below or DM me to get more information and get on the no obligation waitlist, right? Yeah. And it could have done with maybe a follow-up line of, you know, sign up now so you can, I don't know. I feel like that transformation was in the thing before that it will transform your content into a client attracting engine of your business, right? So yeah, that's an example anyway of some stuff that I have done, right? And just remember when you're doing the call to action, keeping it to the what's in it for them, right? Sign up now so you can, unless you have the so you can in the paragraph before, and then you can just do the sign up now. But just make sure that that whole here's the benefit, right? Here's why it's valuable to sign up, right? And you can use one sentence stories even in that call to action, right? Like I did with the client attracting engine of your business, right? So that is everything that I planned to say. And yeah, okay. So let me just summarize, right? So this is a framework. You don't have to follow it word for word, and you can even see where I have felt in a certain zone and just felt called to write certain words in certain ways, and it trying to shoehorn it into the framework didn't necessarily work for me. That's totally okay. And in fact, I encourage that, okay? But just know that when I skip something like not having the proof, right? The oh yeah, the after it's valuable and you're doing the showing proof, the past client stories, that kind of thing. If I skip that in one, I try and make sure my next one in that week has that in the actual carousel in the images, right? So it's got those proofs. So if I skip a step, I try and follow it up with a post that definitely has that step. Maybe I skip a different step. That's my process, right? It's worked very well for me, right? The other thing that I wanted to say is that your content goes hand in hand with your like outreach and conversations, right? So like conversations create clients, and especially if you're selling high ticket coaching, people do business with people who they know, right? And so, like, as much as like this content is amazing, it goes in hand with like me interacting with other people, messaging people who are at the same time trying to sell me their stuff, right? And do you know what I mean? And then like I've bought from them, sometimes they've bought from me. There's been a lot of that going on, right? So I don't want to give the impression that, hey, it's just this content alone. There is also all of this stuff that goes on with this, right? So, as I'm saying this, I realize how long I've talked about this for on the podcast. And I'm teaching a 2 hour workshop where I'm going to be teaching that one sentence stories, and we're going to do that visualization or journaling prompts, right, for people. And then we're going to get into breaking down the posts, the promo posts and the IG bio and that kind of thing. And I'm going to have to make sure I teach it in a way to anyway, we're going to be applying it as I teach it, so it's not going to be me talking as much, right? It's okay. We can solve this. The one thing I love when I do teaching is really having interactivity and having people actually like writing and doing things so that they'll come away with the content. So that's how I'm going to solve that. Little behind the scenes for you, behind the scenes that you didn't ask for. Okay, all right. If this has inspired you in any way, then by all means, please reach out to me at Tiffany G Studios, Tiffany G for golf, Studios. I would love to hear how this inspired you, what you changed in your content, results that you created in the next 30 days. I would love to know that. If you want help with any of this and want my eyes and feedback on exactly what you're writing, then I would suggest to come along to the One Sentence Stories workshop on April 30th. There will be a link in the show notes, and I'm planning to drop some little advertisements in this, so that's why I don't have the link right now come to mind. Oh, actually, I do know the link. Hang on. It's bit.ly/stories April 30, all underscore, no spaces. So bit.ly/stories April 30, all lowercase, no spaces, no underscores, right? That is the link if you want to join us. There is a code for podcast listeners, which is stories25. And that code will reduce the price from $49 to $24 for the full 2 hour workshop. And it's going to be amazing. And I know you're already going to be ahead because you've listened to this. So you're going to be coming along with a different perspective than maybe some other people who have already signed up for the workshop, which is very exciting. However, come along anyway, and you will be just able to make faster progress and come out of it with just even more content and getting my feedback and all of that good stuff. So I'm very, very excited for that coming up. So thank you so much for listening, and I will finish it up here and that's it from me. Bye for now. If you're tired of posting content that doesn't bring in clients, join me for the One Sentence Stories workshop happening April 30. It's just $24 with code STORIES25. You'll leave with content that connects and converts. Details are at bit.ly/stories April 30, all lowercase, no spaces, no underscores, or you can find the link in the show notes. And there's a 30-day money-back guarantee if it's not helpful. Hope to see you there. Thanks for listening to the Business Bravery podcast. Has this episode inspired you to do something brave? Even if it's only send a difficult email, please share it with me on Instagram or other social media channels. Feel free to tag me at Tiffany G Studios. That's Tiffany G for golf, Studios, no spaces, no underscores, etc. Or you can use the hashtag Business Bravery Podcast so that I can cheer you on, and together we can inspire other coaches and course creators to do brave things in their business and life. Now, I'm Tiffany, and I'll leave you with this one last thing. What's one brave thing you're going to do today? It doesn't have to be big. Even the smallest steps can create the most massive results. So again, feel free to share it with me either publicly or privately so that I can cheer you on. That's it from me. Until next time, bye for now.